Okay. Welcome back. It's been a while. I don't know, did I take a break or did it just not happen? Either way, I haven't been here for a while. So, welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all doing reasonably well. Um, right, I'm going to get into the markets. It's actually a midweek update. I suppose I'm going to do a quick update just to keep, I suppose keep me in the loop and keep you in the loop and keep us tracking what's going on in the market. But um, I think I'll probably do a more in-depth update on Friday. But for the moment, I just want to kind of touch base and see where we stand. This also helps me because I need to, I talk through the ideas in my own head, and it kind of helps me sort out some qualms that I may be having in my own head or arguments because I argue a lot with myself. So here you go. You learned something about me today. I'm going to start with the FX market. Again, the last couple of weeks since I've been talking to you, actually, it has been pretty. You could say pretty much flat. We've ranged, 500 pips, all right, but it's basically gone sideways since over the last month actually. It's been going sideways. Now, I'm not unoptimistic about this. I'm actually, I would say I'm reasonably bullish at this point in time. Seeing as we are kind of we're beginning to see higher lows and we're beginning to see impulsive moves to the upside. We haven't confirmed anything just yet. I would suggest that maybe if we break above this, that 103.60 kind of level, which formed a low in wave one and a high in wave four, that's kind of a pretty important, I would say, neckline. So for this inverse head and shoulders, if we break that neckline, then we'd be talking. Uh, we would be, I would say, more sure of the bullish future here. But for the moment, I do think we have a possible 1-2 pattern built off the low, and we're beginning a possible third wave up. So we're getting to euro dollar 1 hour here. You can see I've got a wave one up and an A, B. It's a strange pattern for wave two, but this is what it is so far. It's I think it's a complex running flat. It's a series of threes. That's not exactly what you would hope for, but that's what we have, and that's what I'll work with. So we've got a wave one up, an ABC pattern, wave two, quite a large wave two as well, but a fine consolidation above the low. So that's promising in itself. And then we had a nice impulsive move last week, and we're kind of holding those highs now. So again, promising. So we have a possible wave one and two building now to begin wave three up. So what I'm looking for this week, well, what I'm looking for probably over the next day or so, is for a wave two high to build in pink here at one lower degree. So we've got wave two in blue, wave two in pink, and then we'd look for an acceleration higher in wave three next week sometime. So that's what I'd be looking for, another higher low in wave two. Pound dollar is actually, I would say, I've got to update this chart here. Forgive me. It's most likely completing a larger A wave up, and that's kind of what I've been going with on the short-term chart. So I will update this here to show the same. So in general, looking for three waves up in wave two, somewhere up around 130, 125 to 130. It looks like we're still only on wave A up, and then we'll correct lower in wave B. But this is looking like a three up in A, running flat wave B, and then we look for a five wave pattern wave C of A, and then we'll fall again. So it's going to be probably a frustrating few weeks for cable, nonetheless. Here we've got wave A up, and we've got that running flat wave B again, similar to what happened in Eurodollar, and a possible C wave up now underway. I'm looking at wave one done at yesterday's high, at Tuesday's high, and uh, probably going to look for a larger second wave correction. It looks like we've got five waves down in wave A here, so it might be a straightforward zigzag correction. So five down, three up, five down. So see how that goes over the next day or so. We trace out 3 waves down. I would like to see this channel, this upward channel hold in wave 2. So maybe somewhere about 113. Look for wave 2 to complete. So 3 waves down, 113, and then look for a rally in wave 3 of C. So 5 waves up in wave C, probably somewhere up around 125 to very upper end 130. So maybe keep 125 in your head for wave C. Okay, so I'll move on. Dollar yen. Here is the idea for dollar yen at this point in time. It's, I think, what I'm showing here is a simplification of it. I think it's going to be quite a, how would you say, um, quite a long drawn out pattern, to be honest. So 3 waves down in wave 4 is what I'm looking at. I think we're still only in wave A of 4 here. So if we go down here into the hourly count, you can see what I'm talking about here. In wave A, we've got 3 down in A, triangle and B wave, and then possible 1-2 pattern to begin wave C. I was going with a, how would you say, an extension pattern here last night, but I think the correction higher today is probably high enough to suggest that that's actually wave 2. It's a larger correction than the internal correction here, so swapping it out, maybe that's 1-2 now done, and we should head lower into wave 3 over the next few days. And once we do break below wave A again, so that's 145, but that'll be enough to confirm that wave C is underway, but I don't think it's, excuse me, I don't think it's enough to complete wave C. So you can see here, if wave C reaches equality with wave A, that projects a low about 140. I'm not even going that low with the let's say the path I'm tracing out here, but the A equals C does suggest 140. So probably look for somewhere down around, maybe 143 or previous corrective low here within the rally. So maybe around 143 to complete wave A. So we'll see. Again, this is going to be over the next week, at least a week, maybe even 2 until this is complete. Okay, so let's get on to the Dow. Actually, I should go out to the daily count here. Here is the daily count, and I'm going to show you the possible alternate now after this week's action. Okay, so the early action this week created another spike high. We haven't rallied today. Yes, so well, the market is up open for a few hours, and there hasn't been any rally. So we'll see whether this holds or not. But I suppose the alternate count here would be that we have wave 1 as a leading wedge, and then possible maybe it's a running flat wave 2. So wave 2 could even be complete at this week's high so far. But I suppose the possibility is there that we break above this previous wave 2 high about 30, let's say 34,500. What is that? I'm not going to get an exact number on that now, but somewhere about 34, yeah, 34,300 or so. It is possible that we break 34,300 to top out wave 2 and then fall in third wave. This has been a frustrating time for me in general, being the bear that I am, but I think it's only a patience, let's say, a lesson in patience at this point. So let's get into the hourly count and I'll show you what well, first of all, the 4-hour count. You can see here we have a series actually of 1-2s working down. There is the wedge pattern idea. You can call that the alternate count at this point in time. Wedge count into, I should change that, forgive me. Stay with me. The wedge count would be the alternate and the running flat or expanded flat wave 2. So here's the 4-hour count. A series of 1-2s. We're working at either way, we're working on a second wave, so it doesn't really matter how you want to count that. I am kind of sticking to my guns here, foolishly or not, in this fight out, in this shootout. A possible, still a reasonable 5-wave pattern into wave 1 in blue here. So I am sticking to my guns here, saying that this is a wave 2 in blue, suggesting that wave 3 should be coming our way. We'll have to hold out on that one to see whether that holds water or not. depending on the action from here, I suppose, if it just begins to step lower again, then maybe this alternate account actually suits better. Who knows? Um, I wish I knew the future, but I don't. So, you know, I hate to admit that, but I don't actually know the future. So a series of 1-2s, maybe that's 1-2 in green, and this is 1-2 in blue. And then we'd look for obviously an extension lower in wave 3. That's not impossible because just look what happened out of the summer rally. I would caution, please listen to the caution. If you look at the daily count here, you can see that this rally in October has actually pushed to a higher daily RSI than the summer rally. So we've got a lower high and a lower high in price and a higher uh, momentum. That actually that's a pretty bearish setup, to be quite honest. So momentum can only really go one way from here at this point on the daily chart. Can only really go one way, and that's back down again. So you cycle lower, whether it's a correction or whether it's an all-out collapse. Momentum is only going to go one way, going by that daily count and that extreme high. If you look back, we haven't actually reached a high like that since May 2020. So there you go, May 2020. It's taken 2 years to reach back to a momentum high like that, and here we are at a lower high in price. So 4-hour count, you can see the momentum has already created a divergence in the pattern. So we've got this extreme high in momentum here, probably at that third wave high, which is, actually does fit quite well. So that'll be wave 3 of C. And we had that peak momentum. Momentum fell off last week, and now we've got a higher price but a lower high in momentum. So we are diverging lower pretty fast at this point in time. It depends to see, or it remains to be seen, how quickly price will follow that lower. But I am suggesting that that's most likely what's going to happen here, especially after a serious run up like that. The run up in price is pretty close to the summer rally. So that summer rally, we are already matched, but we did it in quite a much shorter time, probably half the time frame of the summer rally. So you would suggest that the turnaround might even be twice as quick. So the rally has been twice as quick. The turnaround could be twice as quick. So watch out for that. Word of caution. If you want words of caution, this is where you come. Right. So no confirmation yet that the turn down has happened. I was quite pleased with that pattern last week, but obviously that didn't materialize. We've had an early kind of spike rally this week, which kind of put a spanner in the works really for me. But we're kind of holding below the highs so far. Suggestion being momentum is turning, and we should see a reverse workup on this one to the downside. So we should have a kind of counteraction to that momentum rally that's happened over the last few weeks. That would be a third wave down. So watch out for what might happen there. On the hourly count, you can see here, this is the 3-wave pattern that I'm working with wave 2. You could extend, you could work with it the other way. This is just how I suggest that it's working within the larger pattern. So we've got 3 up in A, correction in wave B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in wave C of 2. We pipped above the 78.6 retracement here. Right below that again this morning, but the action doesn't look incredibly impulsive yet to the downside. So we'll see. We'll see whether that the death of how do you say the poster child for the rally over the last 2 years has been Bitcoin, and it has suffered another deathly blow this week. So we'll get to that later, but maybe that is another bubble prick that's happened. And if it is suggestive of a an internal kind of shift in mass psychology again. If we're shifting within the markets back to, you know, conservatism, back to, restraint, well then, you know, that will spill over into the stock market again. Just I am a word. I am a a herald of, how would you say? You might say doom, but I would rather say um, caution. I'm a herald of caution. So let's move on to gold. It's been a good week so far in gold. I was suggesting that maybe we had hit a low, um, albeit it's an unsatisfactory low in wave five. I'm not exactly satisfied by it, but it's here nonetheless. Um, we had a double bottom basically between wave three and wave five. The triangle wave four is, might be quite a stretch, but again, it's a real possibility. So I don't rule it out. I am a long-term bull on gold, so I suppose uh, maybe if we hit a capitulation in the stock market, it might switch on the kind of the fear narrative that will drive gold higher over the longer term. Here is the hourly count. Now we haven't broken out of this previous triangle, so we can view this previous triangle like this. It was three up in A, three down in B, three up in C, three down in D, and three up in E. So we've got that A, B, C, D, E triangle, and then a spike lower on the hourly count. It actually created a triple bottom between wave three, wave B, and wave five. And then we spiked nicely off that level this week. Now, what would really get the ball rolling here is if we got a nice corrective higher low in wave two, and that'd be quite. I'd be quite smitten with that now if that happened. So watch out for that over the next couple of days. If we do, if it doesn't happen in the next couple of days, I suggest maybe early next week it might happen. Three waves down, hold a higher low, and start building from there. But we'll see how that goes. The alternate count is a little bit scary. So that's wave one down and wave two up of five, which would suggest, further um, declines ahead. But we're not quite there yet, so I'm not going to concentrate too much on that. And the bullish count is holding firm for the moment. So let's see how we go with a corrective higher low in wave two over the next few days. Crude oil turning lower, turning Japanese, turning lower. Gives us or opens up the door to the possibility that wave two is actually done at this week's high. So I'll get into the hourly count and I'll show you that in a second. So that'll be wave A, B, and C. So, forgive me, excuse me. Wave C would be an ending diagonal, and that'll be three up in A, three down in B, and ending diagonal wave C, pipped out to a very slight new high. But that completes wave C. We've come down far enough off that right now to suggest that that is at least an interim top. We've got three. The alternate count here would be for a larger wave two. So we've got three up in A. Maybe this is a larger, three wave decline in wave B. So which would probably fall towards 81 again, or $80 to complete, and then a rally in wave C. So I'm keeping that door open here on the 4-hour count. And you can see on the hourly count also. So we've got the three up in wave A, three down in B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in wave C. Switched this morning. I was expecting maybe one more run up to complete wave C, but we've come down far enough today that to suggest that a wave one low is coming in pretty soon. Here is, I would suggest the key level in the short term would be wave four here, about 84.80. This should be enough this level should be enough to support wave one, and then we see if we can build a higher low, or sorry, a lower high in wave two before we fall down into wave three. So suggesting a possible top for wave two and looking towards wave three down. We've got that alternate count here, which would call for a larger wave B flat correction. So we've got three down in B, three up, or sorry, three down. That would be A, B, and C, if you can follow the drift there. So it'd be basically just a range between 92 and 2. So I know that's a large range, but um, that would be a alternate suggestion for wave B, and then a rally in wave C to complete wave 2. For the moment, let's put it this way: if the stock market sells off powerfully, it's going to pull down crude oil with it, no doubt about that. So let's see how that goes. Okay, here is the S&P. The count in the S&P has actually been working a little bit better over the last few days. We didn't get a new high. We've got a solid lower high. Not sure whether this weakness today will develop into an impulsive decline, but I suppose I will welcome the action nonetheless. So a definite candidate for a wave 2 top now in place here. So we've got 5 waves down in wave 1 and 3 waves up in wave 2. Now, where do we go from here? Well, wave 3 down would be where you would suggest that things are going. We'll see how that works out over the next couple of days. We've got the lower high. We've got that slowdown in momentum on the 4-hour count. We've got that, a pretty solid, deeper lower high in momentum in on the daily count. So a real solid divergence here off that rally. The alternate count here would be something similar to the Dow, but I'm going to hold on now. I'm going to mark this as alternate. So there's much more, let's say, ground to cover here before we kind of trigger that alternate count. It's not the same in the Dow. I suppose maybe the fact that the Dow says industrials in its the Dow industrials. Maybe people are rotating or kind of are buying those stocks because they're industrials, or maybe they might weather a recession better. Although I don't see that logic actually ever holding. Relative basis maybe, but I mean everything will go down eventually. So 4-hour count, possible 1-2 complete. Let's get to the hourly count here. You can see that second wave correction complete at, I think it's 39.16. We'll see about that. Excuse me, I'm yawning here. The daylight savings is really kind of mucked, my internal body clock up. So yawning much earlier in the night or evening. It's only 5:15 here. It's pitch black outside though. So we've got a second wave top possibly in place. We've got a nice impulsive pattern down in wave 1. Now I don't know whether this is wave 1 and 2 at a lower degree. That's remains to be seen. We'll see how if this develops further to the downside. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But for the moment, we've got a reasonable lower high. We've got weakness off that lower high, but it hasn't developed impulsively yet. So we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place at this point to see whether wave 3 is now underway or not. I'm not too kind of inspired by the action this morning. So we'll give it a couple of days and we'll see, do we develop further down in wave 1. Right, so let's move on. People think I'm going to be quite sharp on silver here. Long term, I'm a serious bull, and you can see that by this line here. This line goes a long way up, probably up towards $50 or so. But the action off the low has not been too impressive just yet. I've got the 4-hour count here, and you'll see what I mean. That pattern since late August until now, I was calling wave 4 complete at the previous high, but we broke out to a new high this week. But that pattern just screams correction to me still. Now, I know that the possibility for a rally in gold is a little bit favorable, more favorable in my mind at this point in time. But I cannot get away from that this small trend channel here, and the fact that we have a possible three-wave pattern up into that high this week. I suppose it's up to you to make your own mind up on that one, but for me, overall, it just seems too much of a coincidence. Not even a coincidence, but um, a better fit to suggest that this is a triple combination. Three up in A, three down in B, three up in C, completing. It just so happened to complete or hit the upper trend line and find pretty serious resistance there. Well, for the moment anyway, resistance after tagging the upper trend line. We'll see whether this works to the downside again, but for the moment, I'm not too enamored with the action in silver. I still think it's correction in wave 4 with wave 5 down to come. So we'll see how that goes. We'll go to Bitcoin because it's probably the big one this week. Let me see. Yeah. So we could have a fifth wave now underway here after today's action, or this week's action. This week's action is only wave 1 of 3 of 5. So, if I'm correct here, then there is a long way down to go. 5 waves down overall in wave C in black here. That's what I'm looking for to complete a larger B wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're not there yet. I don't think we'll be there probably until we get to the low, back into that kind of 2020 lower range there. Maybe even a break of that 3,000 handle again. And if we get down there, there's nothing to stop Bitcoin continuing lower. So just don't be conservative on how low this can go just yet. Anyway, okay, so that's the daily count. The 4-hour count, you can see a possible 1-2 pattern. That's what I was working with this week, and then we got yesterday, which completely. I know it. You can say that it's definitely tied to the possible bankruptcy or a bankruptcy of that trading platform, but we did have 1-2 pattern complete also. So an acceleration lower in wave 3 could bring us all the way back below 10,000 now over the next week or so. And if we get 5 waves down in wave 5, as I'm suspecting or expecting, then I think we go all the way down to about below 3,000 maybe. So let's see how this goes. Here is the hourly count. Really, there's not really a whole lot to say about that at this moment in time, other than I think we're building or completing 5 waves down in wave 1, and we'll probably get some sort of a second wave correction if that hasn't already happened in the reaction yesterday. But once we do get a second wave, then we'll fall, I think, probably quite precipitously into wave 3 of 5. Anyway, that is the outlook for my sunny outlook for Bitcoin. Just bear in mind, if I go back here to the daily chart, not so long ago, March 2020, Bitcoin was trading around 3,000, 3,500, and it went all the way up to damn near 70,000. In not even 2 years, 18 months. That was the 3,000 to 80,000. And if you go back even further, look at the long-term life chart of Bitcoin. Started at a penny and it went to 70,000. So that I think is the greatest bull market of all time, which probably should incidentally lead to the greatest bear market of all time. So I'm just saying. Okay, so let's see if we get a 1-2 pattern to begin a third wave down. Maybe the worst in wave 3 is ahead of us over the next week or so. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so here is FTSE. No, I'm not going to move on. Nasdaq. I'll just close this out with Nasdaq. The 4-hour count on the Nasdaq suggests that we are still working lower within wave 3, and I think The technology bubble is dead. So we've got a wave 1 and 2 of wave 3, and we've got a lower degree 1 and 2. Now, this could be a third of a third on the way. We've got the lower high. We've got 5 waves down. We've got a pretty corrective looking reaction to that interim low there that from last week. So, might I suggest that at least, if not be expecting a further decline, at least have it, you know, have it at the back of your mind that this could get ugly here pretty soon. We'll see how it goes, but it could get ugly. Right, that is that. I think we're done. Thank you so much for watching. Forgive me for being away for so long, but such is life. Um, Sometimes you just don't get to the things that you want to do. I'm going to upload this now. It's going to be a Wednesday evening update. And if you loved, or if you didn't like all that bad news, maybe you'll like the good news of salvation. There's no other God that came to pay for your sin except Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah. So there you go. Died on the cross and rose 3 days later. Nobody else rose either from the dead for you. And none of them are coming back except Jesus. Coming back soon to a tribulation near you. So things are already heating up. Read the book of Revelation. It's happening right in front of your eyes. If you want any more on that, go to my other YouTube channel, linked below, and you'll see what I mean. Admit that you're a sinner and you've made mistakes. Believe that Jesus is God's Son, died on the cross for you, and rose from the grave the third day, and confess Jesus as the Lord of your life. It's moving from death into life. It is moving from the darkness to the light. It is moving from a condition of amnesty or enmity with God to a condition of imputed righteousness from the Messiah. It's moving from an eternal destruction to eternal life. And it's a decision. It's the only real one that you'll have to make in this life. All the rest die with you. Let not yourself die without making that good decision. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Until Friday. Hopefully I'll get a video done on Friday, and we'll be back. It'll be quite a short-term break after a long-term break. Thank you all. God's blessings to you, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.